Jesus called his 12 disciples to him and gave them authority to drive out evil spirits and to heal every disease and sickness.
The Bible contains remarkable stories of miracles and divine interventions. Moses parted the sea. Peter healed a man lame from his mother's womb. Jesus drove demons out of people and raised others from the dead. But are these types of events still happening today?
We too have a beam of divine light and guidance that God has put within the heart of every man. And it's one of the greatest proofs that there is a God.
More amazing supernatural things are happening than we realize.
This is Divine Intervention, the interview show that features intriguing people who've experienced the hand of God in amazing ways. Divine Intervention was created and produced with the purpose of encouraging believers, spiritual seekers, and skeptics alike that Jesus is alive and is still performing miracles and working in the world today.
I believe in miracles.
Here's your host, Daniel Fazina.
Hello, friend, and welcome to another exciting episode of Divine Intervention Radio. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to join me for this hour on this show. As you may know, we love to feature the miracles of God, how God is intervening in people's lives, changing lives, doing miracles, and just really just changing people's hearts and changing the world one heart at a time. And I just love showcasing what God is doing. Because there's never any shortage of the things that God is doing. He's still doing miracles and intervening in people's lives, even to this day. If you are new to the show, you may want to check out our website, divineinterventionradio.com, or even if you've been listening for a while but haven't checked out some of the old archives. I've done over 200 episodes of the show so far, from all sorts of things, from like when God intervenes and changes someone's heart, to a miraculous healing, to a near-death experiences, all sorts of ways in which God reaches into people's lives and changes them. So you can check out the archives at divineinterventionradio.com, divineinterventionradio.com. Also our Facebook page, facebook.com/divineinterventionradio, and YouTube, youtube.com/divineinterventionradio. If you go to the YouTube page, please like the videos and comment on them, and also subscribe to the channel. Not only is that going to help us to grow the show, but it's also going to notify you when we upload a new episode. All right, today's special guest is Luc Mignon. He's also known as French Luc, and he is a French producer living in the USA. He was born into a Christian family in France and raised on faith, but decided to go astray when he became an adult. He always believed in God, but God wasn't leading his life the way he actually wanted. Many years later, after traveling all over the world and starting a family, French faced a major crisis that forced him to turn his heart to God. Eventually, a miracle happened that saved his family and changed his life forever. Since then, he has decided to talk about what God has done in his life, and he then released an album in September 2018 titled Love is Worth the Fight, which we're going to hear some tracks from. And that album was meant to encourage anyone who is struggling with couple and family issues. Whatever an individual's music taste is, everyone can find at least one of French Luc's songs that they can relate to lyrically or appreciate musically. French Luc's electro music style is notable for a lyrical depth and narrative that's refreshingly substantive for his style of music. French Luc is now working on a worship EP, electro and acoustic, and is very excited to share it across the Christian community. His website is French Luc and the Americans. That's FRENCHLUC and the Americans.com. And it's my pleasure to welcome Luc Mignon right now on Divine Intervention Radio. Luc, you are on Divine Intervention Radio. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, guys. I'm so happy to be with you today.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure to have you on the show. I'm very excited to talk to you about the amazing work that God has done in your life and, of course, your music.
Yes.
But before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Who is Luc Mignon, and how did you grow up, and maybe how did you come to know Jesus in the first place?
Sure. So, Luc Mignon, and my last name is French Luc. So I released an album here under French Luc and the American because we are in US. But you're going to find me as French Luc. So, yeah, my background is pretty simple. I grew up in a Christian family. So I was surrounded by Christians. I used to go a lot to the church in back in France. And, I had good memories of amazing grandfathers and grandmother, both sides, are very close from God, teaching all the time and giving me some good advice and praying for us. And then I grew up, and then I went to high school and college, and then I started, working internationally with an oil company. And the thing is, during years, I just knew that God exists, but He was not part of my life, right? And when I look back with the way I was living, because I was traveling a lot, in many different countries, I realized how far I was from God in any decision, decision I made, and any action I would take, any word I would say, basically I knew God, but He was not part of my life. So that was a kind of sad, but sometimes I just also realized that I didn't realize that at this time. So I just move on, and then I met with a girl who would become my wife, like it was 8 years ago when I was back to Paris, living in Paris. And rapidly we decided to marry. So we get married, and we had our first child, our first daughter, our daughter Charlie. And my company decided to transfer me to the US. We came here, and she was already pregnant of the second child, my son. And when we came here, we met with some old friends, and I wanted to reconnect with church. So we decided to go to a church called Ecclesia, which is a church downtown here in Houston, led by the pastor Chris C., who is a fantastic leader, very charismatic and full of love and compassion. And so my wife didn't know anything about Jesus. She was not growing up in a family. In France, you must know something. Very few people knows Jesus and knows God, right?
Yes, I understand that. Having lived there for a time myself and studied there, I noticed that a lot of French people are atheist, and there's also a very big Muslim population. And my friend, she said, "On dit qu'on est catholique, mais," and then she didn't know what to do with it.
Exactly. So a lot of Catholics, but some of them really believe and love God. But
right.
I would say a major part of them. Some people will tell you I'm Catholic, but they doesn't even know what it means.
Right.
Right. They don't have a personal relationship with God. Right. So my point is, she really felt welcome, and she loved this place. And we were going to church, almost every Sunday. But it doesn't mean that my life was any better, or let's say, because I was not doing anything wrong as per se, but God was not part of my life, really. Was not leading it. I was not asking Him anything. I was just moving on, and I thought it was sufficient somehow. But what happened is, so I was doing a lot of music, and I was also working very hard in my job. And my wife is quite younger than me. She started to be bored, and I didn't realize. Actually, I was really blind. I had to learn a lot about what it takes to have a family in terms of advancement, in terms of caring and stuff. I thought I was doing my job and I was doing it well, but I was not doing what it takes to make your wife happy.
Oh, yes, a very important thing. A happy wife, happy life, right?
Correct. But I didn't see a lot of, I grew up so much going through this story, but
right.
That was for me. But at one point, she just started to go out a lot, and I didn't even realize it was wrong. I was wondering what was going on, but I was still doing my music. And by the way, I was producing a lot in the secular world, and I had a name back in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
But one day, it was in February 2016. One night she told me, "I think it's not going well together. I don't feel anything anymore for you." And that day, I knew that it was very serious, because she's not the kind of girl saying these kind of things without a big meaning. What I didn't know, though, at this time, is she already had a relationship, right? And she met with someone and stuff. So it took me a lot of months to discover it. So during 2016, I was trying everything I could to save my marriage and my family. And my kids was like maybe 2 and 4 at the time. And clearly, the most important thing in my life was my family. Was not my money or my asset or whatever. It took me so long to build a family, right?
At this point, were you guys separated, or?
We were in the same house, and we were trying to reconnect, and she was trying also, and we were going through some counseling, we met with a fantastic lady who was with us like 2 years, we were going every week.
Okay.
Problem is she never confessed the truth, so we were trying to build on lies, and it was working somehow, but I've been through extreme pain during this 2016.
Oh, sure.
I could tell that we were still together, but I didn't know what's going on until the day of Christmas, the 25th of December 2016, where I see on her phone a long message, a long text from a friend of hers saying, when you came with this guy to my place and blah, blah, blah. So I realized I knew this guy, right? I was meeting him from time to time, and then I realized what was going on, right?
When you found out the truth, or that text, and you realized she was with another man, what goes through your head in that moment?
Well, I immediately asked her to confirm. She confirmed. She was not with him all the time, but she had a relationship with him, and then in December they met again, and they were caught by someone. Well, for me, it was a bit of the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's like the treason. I mean, this kind of thing is very violent, right? It shakes you up in a lot, and plus you realize that a lot of friends, that people you call friends, has been lying to you, they knew and stuff, Plus, she had support from her family in whatever decision she would take, right? Because again, they are not Christian, and they just don't understand that love is a choice, it's not an emotion.
Right.
For them, love is an emotion. So if you don't feel this, you don't love this guy anymore, just move on, right? That's what they think. So what I decided to do, though, is to forgive and move on. But I want to tell you something about that, because I think it's very important for whoever is listening. So I decided to forgive, but forgiveness is just more than one action that you take one day, right? You have to forgive and forgive again, right? Because you need to let God heal you and take care of you and rebuild you, and you're going to hate again, you're going to suffer again, and you have to. And that's fine, but you have to keep going and forgive and try to let the Lord work in your heart. That's one thing I wanted to say, right?
Right. Very difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing to do when you've experienced that betrayal. But
exactly.
The good news is that, the Lord Jesus experienced betrayal too. He didn't leave us to this broken world on his own. He's a God who related with us, and, he can enter into that pain with us. So how did you manage to do that, to forgive and move on, and how did your relationship go from there?
The thing is, so first, what I need to tell you is, it's not like she came back to me and say, I'm very sorry, I want that to work. But rapidly, the truth came out, like she was telling me, I'm not sure I love you. I'm not sure it will ever work again. Right? So for me, it was an extra burden. It's like, I have to forgive, and I have to love for two people, right? I have to love for two of us, because I am the only one who can love here, right? How long I will be able to do that, So months after months, we were living together with the family, and, since everything started in 2016, I was fasting once a week in my parking slot in my company. And that helped me a lot, because it was now a rendezvous, a relationship with God once a week, where I can just tell him whatever I have in my heart, pray for others, pray for the situation. And you will understand what I'm saying, because I want to tell you some stuff, but I cannot go too fast.
Sure.
But
take your time.
Sure. So during all this, these hours, I was praying and stuff. there was a lot of begging, supplication to God, and please, God, help me. I was suffering sometimes during 2016 and a part of 2017. I would work, but I couldn't work. I was crying under my office, and I didn't want anybody to see me. Or, for instance, when I was coming back to home, I had to stop on the side of the road, and I was crying. I mean, for me, it was too much, carry on. So what happened is I was not sure where we were going. And came the summer 2017, and she was leaving 1 week before me with my daughter, and I was supposed to come a week after with my son. And when I landed in South France, because our parents live like 20 miles away from each other. Okay. Which is very convenient. And we are on the sea. It's a beautiful place. I just called her and say, okay, where do I see you? And, I text her and she said, I'm not sure. We need to talk first. And I felt, the week before already from Houston, I felt that something was not right. What I didn't know, though, is she already made up a decision with the help of her family. I mean, with the support of family, was to divorce. So she called me and said, I'm sorry, but it's over and it will never come back.
Oh my gosh.
That was terrible because after all battle, I was trying to be the perfect husband, almost 2 years, perfect father. I tried everything I could. We traveled. I covered her with love, and, I did some stuff wrong, sometimes I was angry or whatever, but most of the time it's like I was really close and trying my best, right?
Right. Wow.
And and the day after, she sent me another text and said, I saw the lawyer, and it's over. I mean, we're gonna move on, and I won't see you during 3 weeks of vacation. We're gonna exchange kids, and then I'll come back to Houston just to pick up the stuff, and that's it. So I saw lawyers in US before I left, and they told me that generally speaking, women always get the kids, and I mean, it doesn't matter what she did. What matters is she a good mother, and she was a good mother. So I also saw a lawyer in France because I had to do something, and he told me pretty much the same thing, right? And now this big chaos, was coming to my life, which was I have a job in US. I cannot be transferred overnight. My kids will stay with my wife. They will be raised by someone else. And this is basically the end of the world for me, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and I really love my kid, and I mean, it's really important as much as my wife,
Sure.
And, when the day in 2016 where everything started, the day where she told, when I started, she told me, I'm not sure about us anymore. I don't think I love you. I mean, I don't feel anything. This night, we were in our bed. I couldn't sleep. And I had like a kind of, it was not a vision, but I had this strong image of me being alone in this big house in Houston, because we have here, everything is big, by the way. So we have a big house, a 6-bedroom house. And I saw myself alone, and I saw the end, right? I saw myself alone, just working in this house, and nobody's there. And when everything happened during summer 2017, when she said that she saw a lawyer and stuff, and he was, over, and she wanted to divorce, this image came back, and I realized this is crazy. I don't know. It would turn to this finally, and it would take so long. I thought I would win this battle, right?
Right.
And this is what came back. But then there is one thing very important here. A lot of people just told me, look, now you need to understand. Even my family, even my parents, who are Christians, they told me, I think you get to realize that you just can't do anything anymore. It's over, right? But very few guys from church decided to keep on praying with me. So I met with some few guys, and in my heart, deep in my heart, I didn't want to accept it.
Of course not.
I thought something would happen. Even so, I met her, by the way. I met her once during vacation, and she said everything she had to say, and I said, you don't have to take this decision so quickly. We can be away from each other during 3 weeks, and maybe you can sing. And the day after, she sent me a text and said, there is nothing really we can do. It will never, ever come back. I don't want it anymore. So, I kept praying, and we were fasting, and I really wanted to see God doing something, right?
Sure.
So, even so, he was lost. Her family supported her. Even so, she didn't want me anymore. And she said she would go back to Houston, pick up the staff, and then come back to France and settle down there. And so, vacation was going, and I was praying, and my kids was very insecure, It was a chaos for them. They didn't understand what was going on.
And how old were they at this time?
2 and 4.
2 and
But
4.
they were, even the youngest was crying a lot. I couldn't even drop my kids to my grandparents. They would feel insecure.
Sure.
Like usual, they were completely lost. And when came the day where we were supposed to fly back to Houston, we were supposed to stop in New York for 3 days, and I couldn't change the ticket, otherwise it would have cost a fortune. And I decided at the last moment I would just keep it, and at least we will spend 3 days in New York. We love New York, so maybe it's going to be a little bit weird, but, we'll do that. But you know what? I came to the airport. I was really confident. I was smiling. I met with their parents. I didn't say anything. Also, I had a lot of hurt by what they told me over the text and
Sure.
the way they supported her, But I didn't say anything. I went to the airport, and, I was very confident. I gained maturity, and it was like Romans 8:31. If God is with us, who's going to be against us?
Right, right.
And I knew that the battle was basically theoretically lost, and there was nothing to do. But I was here to take care of my kids and my wife eventually, and still love her no matter what, right? So we just flew to Houston, and I was very peaceful and, smiling, and I was, I can tell that she was distant. We had one bed, and she wouldn't touch me or whatever. She was very distant. Everything was so weird, It's like my wife. I couldn't see her even undress or whatever because she's a different person, right? And for me, sometimes, during all this period, I was thinking, it looks like I'm watching a movie.
Right.
Except that I am the principal actor in the movie, and this is my wife.
Almost like you become roommates instead of husband and wife, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Luc, we're going to take a quick break here. We're up against a break, but I want to hear the rest of your story because it's not over yet. And the Lord did a miracle in your life and in your family's life, and it led to an amazing restoration, and we want to hear about that right after the break.
Yes.
Friend, please stay with us. You are listening to Divine Intervention Radio, and our special guest is Luc Mignon, and we're going to hear the rest of his story right after this. Stay with us on Divine Intervention Radio.
You're listening to Divine Intervention with Daniel Fazina, and we'll return in just a moment.
I believe in miracles.
Hi, I'm Kevin McCullough. You may know me from Fox News or Talk Radio. Have you ever wondered or pondered the idea of working for yourself or owning your own business? Using your skills to build a vision or a passion for your own life? Think about it. No boss, no politics, no compromise, no commute, no employees, no discrimination, and no educational requirements. Just building something positive that impacts people's lives. Well, you can get started owning your own energy company for less than $500. Would you like to know how? It's through a great company called Ambit. You can find out more when you go to freepowernow.com. That's freepowernow.com. Or if you're really interested in getting started, call my good friend Daniel Fazina, an independent energy consultant with Ambit. He's ready to help you get started on a brand new career. 205-55-AMBIT. That's 205-55-AMBIT or freepowernow.com.
Hey, this is Daniel Fazina of Divine Intervention Radio. The Bible contains some incredible stories of miracles and divine interventions. Jesus calmed a raging storm, healed paralytics, and even raised the dead. But are these types of events still happening today? The answer to this question, as you will see from reading my book, Divine Intervention, 50 True Stories of God's Miracles Today, is an emphatic yes. Contained within the book is a collection of amazing true stories that attest to this fact. You will read the astonishing first-hand accounts of people who have been healed of paralysis, terminal cancer, and tumors through prayer. You will see the love of God powerfully transform the life of an Islamic terrorist. You will witness the liberation of the demon-possessed, the resurrection of the dead, and much more. Prepare to be awed and inspired as you experience divine intervention. More information about divine intervention, 50 true stories of God's miracles today, can be found at www.divineinterventionradio.com or by calling 800-247-4784. That's 1-800-247-4784. Divine Intervention welcomes the support of Latirzo Associates, Certified Public Accountants. Latirzo Associates, Certified Public Accountants is a family-owned and operated Christian business serving their clients with quality accounting services for over 40 years, offering full-service accounting for any type of business, large or small, in any state of the union. Latirzo Associates, Certified Public Accountants, 12 Oak Street, No. 5, West Hampton Beach, New York, 11978. Phone 631-288-3334. That's 631-288-3334. Divine Intervention is supported by the Other Perspective Media recording artist, poet Billy Lamont. Poetry, music, film, video, publishing, art, activism, photography, philosophy, Jesus. The Other Perspective 777, a sacred art sensory experience. More information about poet Billy Lamont's CDs, books, and Other Perspective Media can be found at www.billylamont.com. That's www.billylamont.com. Times are tough, not getting easier, but there's an opportunity that could make a significant change in your financial situation. People are paying too much for home utilities, and everybody has them. Help friends and family save money and get paid for it. No obligation. You don't even have to talk to anyone unless you want to. Just listen to a 3-minute recorded message. Call now, 715-GET-CASH. That's 715-GET-CASH. Listen, decide, and you could be on your way to a better tomorrow. 715-438-2274. That's 715-GET-CASH.
Hi everybody, this is Victoria Jackson from Saturday Night Live, and you are listening to Divine Intervention Radio with Daniel Fazina!
Just how small we all really are. In our seasons low, mercy finds its way between the glow. I will stand upon your rock, unshaken till your kingdom come, your kingdom come. Grace will lead us through the darkness.
Welcome back to Divine Intervention Radio. I'm your host, Daniel Fazina. DivineInterventionRadio.com is the website there. If you miss any of our previous episodes, you can check out the archives there at DivineInterventionRadio.com. Also on YouTube, youtube.com/Divine Intervention Radio. Well, friend, if you're just tuning in, we're speaking with our special guest, Mr. Luc Mignon. He is a musician from France originally, now living in the United States. And before the break, he was telling us about the difficulties he was going through in his marriage. It was falling apart. His wife did not want to be with him anymore. She was pretty much had her mind made up that she was going to get a divorce. But God intervened in their life and did an amazing miracle. And we're going to hear that story right now. Mr. Luc Mignon, welcome back.
Hey.
All right. So
Hello everybody.
Continue the story. Basically, you were reuniting in Houston, but for all intents and purposes, your wife had made up her mind that everything was over. But something happened. What happened going forward from there?
For those who are just joining now, the battle was going on for almost 2 years. We were in New York, just on our way to Houston. And during this time in New York, I show a lot of love to my family, even so I know that he was lost. And slowly, but surely, she was coming back a little bit to me, but I was not too sure, right? Then we flew back to Houston, and what happened is Harvey, remember Harvey?
Hurricane Harvey?
Yeah, the hurricane.
Yes.
Came like maybe 10 days or 2 weeks after, and it hit Houston very badly. And we had eventually to evacuate to another house, just in case. And during this 2 weeks prior Harvey and the week during Harvey, I felt that I was getting closer and closer to my wife, and I was, I prayed as I always do. I always did, right? But something clearly was changing in her heart, right? Despite what she said, despite the fact that he has been lying a long time, and family was supporting her, and friend was supporting her, and she said that she saw the lawyer and stuff, and it was over. Something was changing, up to the point where one day, we had a WhatsApp group with the family, and I received a comment a little bit rude from her father, and she replied a long text, and she said to her family, you know what, there is no more divorce. Luc is the man of my life, and I will never find someone who can love me so much, and so on and so on. It was like she was standing in front of her family to say that this story was over.
Wow.
Since then, our life changed. I mean, she was not going out anymore. She loved her family, with passion, and every day she says, we were in August 2017, we are now in June 2019. Every day she says that she loves me, and there is no more doubt in her heart, right?
Wow.
Oh, everything has been different, has been new, right?
Did she say to you what caused the change of heart, or how that happened?
She doesn't understand herself neither. That's why I think it's really God who was acting, in her heart. The Holy Spirit did something.
Yes, because you were praying and fasting for her and for the situation for years.
But, for those who are listening, I got a big lesson here. Is, during all this time, this month, I was really crying out to Lord, and, I was asking, but I was really in fear. Right? I was really in fear, and I was saying in the previous moment, in the previous interview, that the day where she told me, the first day in 2016, when everything started, she told me that she was not feeling anything anymore, and I knew it was serious. And I saw during that night kind of image in my bed where I saw this house empty, and that was, it was about to come, I realized something is like God was telling me, you lost control. You wanted to get control over friends, over family. You used to have control with your job and your finance and everything, but clearly here you didn't have any control. But the problem is, if only you had a little bit of faith, right? If only you had a little bit of faith, is what I received. You wouldn't have been in such fear and pain, And that was the first thing I really understood, is one thing to go to church and believe in our heart and sing something and say, you control my life, blah, blah. But when a storm is coming, it can be the health, it can be your family, it can be your financial situation. When the real storm is coming, I mean, if you believe in God, believe in God, right? Just don't be in fear. I know it's simple to say, but now my life changed. I understand. I know. I can remember clearly all the time I was such in pain, afraid of what she would say or what she didn't say, what I didn't know. All the thing I was, not in control. Should I install a device, something on her phone to know who she's talking to? I didn't do it, and I would seek for an information. And, that was crazy because I was not counting on God. Even so, I was praying, my habit of being in control was there, right?
Yeah, that's a key point. I think we need to realize that there's very little in this life that we can control. We can control ourselves and our reaction to things, but outside of that, we can't control other people or situations that come into our lives. And I think what you mentioned is very key. And again, like you said, it can happen with a health situation or a family situation or financial. But when we come to the end of ourselves and realize that we are not in control, and we can turn over that control to the Lord, who ultimately is in control, when we finally surrender to that, it takes a huge burden off our shoulders. And, I experienced that in going through cancer. When I was given a diagnosis at age 27 that I could be dead within a matter of 3 weeks to 3 months, I realized I was not in control. I could not fix myself. I couldn't figure things out, and I had to fully surrender to the Lord. And that's when I got a real breakthrough moment of peace, that peace that Jesus said, "My peace I give you, not as the world gives," and the peace that the Lord gives and that the world can't give and the world can't take away. That's what I got from that.
Sure.
And I think that's a key point.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you realized that and that your life is much better now going forward. Tell us more about what's going on with your life now and how things are going and what this crisis in your marriage actually led to in your music career as well.
So basically, I decided I was producing for Secular World, and I have a recording studio here at home. I used to work in Europe with well-known people, but through all this stuff, I wanted to write an album not dedicated to Christian, but more dedicated to the secular world, just to share a little bit of my faith. And the album is called "Love Is Worth the Fight."
I love it.
And I just this was a single. I just wanted to tell people that really love is not an emotion; it's a choice.
Amen.
And love is worth the fight. That you may be amazed by what God can do in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have love. And talking about that, last point I want to because I want to be a source of encouragement for whoever is going through that. I just want to tell you that don't believe what you see, right? And it's what I used to do. The other thing I got to realize is until God says it's over, it's not over, right? And that is crazy, but until God says it's over, it's not over. I mean that, even so it looks like it's really over, but, until he says that, it's not. So don't believe what you see, right? Keep praying, keep adoring, and keep putting your trust, because you would be amazed. He will do it on his time, right? Maybe he's waiting for you to be prepared and to have gone through enough, to process all of this. And I'm glad that he didn't solve the situation in 2 weeks, right? Because I would have learned nothing.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, we learn a lot going through suffering. That's for sure. I sure did. Going through the things, the trials, the situations I've gone through, I found that the hardest times in my life are when God was doing a work in me and teaching me. And it's not pleasant going through it, but looking back, you can see that if you allow God to teach you through it, it's worth it, All
right. So don't believe what even so it's going on for months, even so your partner, your wife or husband is not there anymore, whatever, just keep going, you may be amazed of what God can do in your life. And back to the music, I just released this album, and you can find it on Spotify. It's under French Luc and the Americans. But now I'm working on the different project. I want to create some worship songs, and I've started working with amazing singers here in US. Even though we are transferred to India, so in a couple of weeks we're gonna be gone. I move forward with the songs, and I'm gonna work remotely, and I would be very happy to release that during the fall.
Oh, that's great! I'm glad to hear that. It's amazing how, if we let Him, God can use these seeming tragedies in our lives to bring about beautiful things, such as your album and the growth that you've experienced in your life, in your faith, and your wife's life, your whole family. That's pretty awesome.
And we want to start a blog with my wife to talk about couples issue, what it takes to love each other. Not necessarily because I'm Christian. She's coming with me. She didn't still experience this, but But on both sides, we want to say, hey, this is, on a human standpoint, this is what it takes to love each other, and on a Christian standpoint, so, right? So I hope that we can settle that very soon so that we can share that with people on YouTube.
That's great. I appreciate your candidness and your desire to share, the pain and stuff that you've went through, and hopefully encourage someone else. If there's someone listening right now who may be in a similar situation, obviously you said, your advice to them would be it's not over until God says it's over. But if they're going through a situation, a marriage situation, or any other type of situation, maybe they don't even believe in God or think that He's there for them, or that He even cares enough about them to be involved. What would you like to say to them?
I would like to tell them to, first of all, to seek for God, to seek for Jesus, to start praying and put their trust in God. Maybe if they have a Bible, just open the Bible and start reading the Bible. If you can go to a church, just go to a church and choose your friend as well. Try to be surrounded by people who will support you, love you, encourage you, right? And again, I would say don't trust what you see. You need to abandon that. It's too big for you probably, but if you abandon it, someone will take care of it, right? God will help you.
That's great. Keen advice right there. What about for a couple or maybe a woman who is maybe going through what your wife did? Maybe she just doesn't feel those emotions of love again for her husband. What advice would you give to someone in that situation? Maybe they just don't feel in love, quote unquote, in love with their spouse anymore. What would you want to encourage them with, or what advice would you give them?
Well, I would tell them that also what I said to my wife during all this time is, you can always escape, you can always go somewhere else. But guess what? It's going to be the same pattern, or, you're going to fall in love with someone eventually, right? And after a couple of months, this passion will fade away, right? Then you come back to the real foundation, which is, what does it take to be together? What does it take to build something together? So why would you go somewhere else? I mean, love is not an emotion again. It's sometimes an emotion, but most of the time it's a choice. And when you do this choice, you will be surprised that emotion will come on the top of it eventually, right? When my wife, when I discovered that she cheated on me and stuff, and she was telling me that she didn't love me anymore during months, right? Guess what? A lot of time I didn't love her back. I mean, I was not feeling love.
Right.
I couldn't say, I feel passion. No, I was suffering. It hurt.
But you chose to love her, though, right?
Yeah.
You led your heart.
And I decided to love her no matter what, right? Because eventually doing so, I would be blessed, and love will come back as an emotion later. But it was a choice, right? I would say that. I would say, don't worry, don't think that it's gone forever. If you give your husband a chance, and if you seek for God, and if you be vulnerable, and if you take your time, he will come back for sure. Right?
Amen. Good advice. And just a key point, too, I wanted to bring out along those lines. I had interviewed Dr. Gary Chapman, who's a friend of mine. He is the author of The 5 Love Languages, and he talks about that in-love feeling that you get initially when you fall in love, quote unquote. He said in studying couples and counseling them for many, many years, the psychology is that quote unquote in-love feeling does not last more than 2 years at the most. So once you get beyond that point, that feeling kind of fades away, and you have to cultivate your relationship. You have to work for it, and you have to choose to love. Love changes. So if you're constantly just looking for that feeling, you're going to be sorely disappointed no matter where you go. They say the grass is greener on the other side. Well, no, it's greener where you water it, and so you have to invest in your marriage and choose to love. Luc, I could talk to you more about this all day, but unfortunately we are just about out of time. But we're going to end off with your amazing song, Love is Worth the Fight. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to share on Divine Intervention. I really appreciate your openness and your candor in sharing your struggles and your ultimate miracle with us. So thanks again, Luc Mignon.
Thanks to you. Thanks for the opportunity for sharing this message with you guys.
No problem. Again, our special guest has been Luc Mignon. I'm Daniel Fazina with DivineInterventionRadio.com. And you can check out Luc's band. It's called French Luc and the Americans.com. www.FrenchLucandtheAmericans.com, and Luc is spelled with L-U-C, and we're going to end off with his song Love is Worth the Fight. Thanks again for joining us. Take care and God bless.
I put my heart in your hands, gave you my innermost place. No one could touch me or clutch me. I gave you that space. You took my heart, and you gave it away. And now these memories of what you did, I just can't erase. And yes, I'm trying to find my way up in grace. My soul is crying. Is someone still in my place? It's just so hard when I rewind. Is there somewhere I went wrong? Is there a clue I missed along the way that pushed you this far? You were my world, I trusted you with all of my love. You are the moon, I didn't care about the stars. You were my universe, you shattered my heart. Why did you leave me? It's all I can ask. There's only one answer that I can grasp. I must forgive you. I loved you more than I've ever loved a woman before. I did more for you than I've ever done, but I still came up short. I tried to find my wrongs, but it seemed like it's you. You did to me the things that I never thought you would do. I can't believe you left after I dealt with all your mess. Lord, help me with all this stress. Can you help me forget? For me to keep my peace and not be bitter as I live. Everything you've done to me, I must forgive. You were my world, I trusted you with all of my love. You were the moon, I didn't care about the stars. You were my universe, you shattered my heart. Why did you leave me? It's all I can ask. There's only one answer that I can grasp. I must forgive you. Love is worth the fight. Drowning, but then he got me resuscitated. My heartbeat can't stop me. His love is on me. Forgive you, I fight like Rocky. It's worth it. His love is perfect. He lifted this heavy burden. I see it and I believe it. My strength is coming through Jesus. What don't kill me makes me stronger. Love cannot be conquered. Our sins lay at the altar. No longer will all of falter. Might take us some time, but we will not rewind. No need to look behind. Not guilty. It's time to shoot. You were my world, I trusted you with all of my love. You were the moon, I didn't care about the stars. You were my universe, you shattered my heart. Why did you leave me? It's all I can ask. There's only one answer that I can grasp. I must forgive you. But baby, I still love you. Love is worth the fight. Yes, it is.
Hey, this is Daniel Fazina of Divine Intervention Radio. The Bible contains some incredible stories of miracles and divine interventions. Jesus calmed a raging storm, healed paralytics, and even raised the dead. But are these types of events still happening today? The answer to this question, as you will see from reading my book, Divine Intervention, 50 True Stories of God's Miracles Today, is an emphatic yes. Contained within the book is a collection of amazing true stories that attest to this fact. You will read the astonishing first-hand accounts of people who have been healed of paralysis, terminal cancer, and tumors through prayer. You will see the love of God powerfully transform the life of an Islamic terrorist. You will witness the liberation of the demon-possessed, the resurrection of the dead, and much more. Prepare to be awed and inspired as you experience divine intervention. More information about Divine Intervention, 50 True Stories of God's Miracles Today can be found at www.divineinterventionradio.com or by calling 800-247-4784. That's 1-800-247-4784.
Hi, Kevin McCullough, Fox News and Talk Radio. Let me ask you a question. Do you like the word free? Like free energy? Yeah, free electricity, free natural gas. Would that help your family budget on a month-to-month basis to get your energy bills eliminated from your month-to-month costs? Do you even know that it's possible to get free energy? Well, it completely is. My good friend Daniel Fazina is an independent energy consultant for a company called Ambit Energy, and he has put together a powerful presentation as to how you can get free energy and how to do it quickly. If you'd like more information, go to freepowernow.com. That's freepowernow.com. Or if you're ready to get free energy as fast as possible, get your energy bill and dial 205-55-AMBIT. That's 205-55-AMBIT.
Divine Intervention welcomes the support of Latirzo Associates, Certified Public Accountants. Latirzo Associates, Certified Public Accountants is a family-owned and operated Christian business serving their clients with quality accounting services for over 40 years, offering full-service accounting for any type of business, large or small, in any state of the union. Latirzo Associates, Certified Public Accountants, 12 Oak Street, No. 5, West Hampton Beach, New York, 11978. Phone 631-288-3334. That's 631-288-3334.
Have you heard the story about the terrifying dragon created by God?
Dragons, just the word conjures up all these images.
They look like big reptiles with long tails, with scales, sharp teeth, claws.
They're carnivorous and they're basically going to gnaw your face off.
Could actually be stories about what we today call dinosaurs.
Marco Polo's writing about dragons. Alexander the Great is talking about his giant lizard.
How did the people who carved that stone 800 years ago have carved a stegosaur?
Where in the world did all those images come from?
Do you believe in dragons or dinosaurs?
Try to explain away human encounters with creatures which we would call dragons.
Creation or evolution?
Clearly, science has shown this dinosaur died out very recently.
This is one of the greatest paleontological discoveries ever.
Man or God?
Confirms the Bible's history that dinosaurs and people lived at the same time.
Cloud 10 Pictures proudly presents Dragons or Dinosaurs, DVD and book. Ask for it at fine Christian retailers everywhere.
First Steps to Success gives you the tools to remap your internal beliefs about yourself, about your money, and about others. You'll learn a simple but powerful system to create success in any environment, as well as business building, leadership, sales, and marketing skills to create the lifestyle most only dream about.
Prior to getting started with Danny, I was a civil engineer, working paycheck to paycheck, no retirement, no savings. Just had a lot of dreams and goals and couldn't figure out how I was going to get to those. Started plugging into Danny, started my own engineering business, and this year we'll do about $600,000 in revenue. I paid off $50,000 in debt in 2.5 years. More than the money, a great relationship with my wife and my kids. Just amazing 2.5 years.
First Steps to Success with Danny Johnson is about becoming the leader you were called to be. It's about expanding your territory and influence. It's about equipping you to succeed beyond your wildest dreams while bringing others along for the journey with you. Visit DannyJohnson.com today to register for the next First Steps to Success seminar. Times are tough, not getting easier, but there's an opportunity that could make a significant change in your financial situation. People are paying too much for home utilities, and everybody has them. Help friends and family save money and get paid for it. No obligation. You don't even have to talk to anyone unless you want to. Just listen to a 3-minute recorded message. Call now, 715-GET-CASH. That's 715-GET-CASH. Listen, decide, and you could be on your way to a better tomorrow. 715-438-2274. That's 715-GET-CASH.